Hello, welcome to the humanity where we do the things with the stuff for the people. I am Matt.
And I am Tommy, and welcome back to tonight's episode. Starting a little late tonight. I had a thing to do that was at a place. Anyway,
Hey,
I know.
I gotta reverse my thing. Hold on. No, you can keep
Okay.
talking. I don't know why I said
All
hold
right.
on.
So, like, hold on, the things. You need to go the other way. So tonight we are looking at a video by apparently popular Christian apologist Frank Turek. If you've never heard of him, I'm envious, and we apologize for introducing you to him this evening. So,
Yeah,
I forgot to put a link to the video in the description, but I will do that as soon as we are done. So so again, just to make sure that we are going to be plan on playing the whole thing. We'll see how much of it we get to tonight. Because if you remember our previous attempts at video reacting, we did a couple of them a couple nights in a row or a couple weeks in a row that were about 5 minutes each, and each 5-minute video took us an entire episode. This one's about 19 minutes. So let's see if our skills have improved since last time. But yeah, so Matt, you're the one who introduced this bit of fuckery to me. So why don't you explain yourself?
I watched
and apologize
reacting to it, and they didn't react to the whole thing because it's long.
Because why would you? Yeah. Ooh.
Somebody was trying to come down.
So
I was watching somebody else react. Realized that Frank has never been so Turek in this video. This was it's both. He's out over his skis in this one, quite a lot. So the arrogance is just impressive.
Right.
Yeah, and at the same time, he's the only one I've ever seen directly take on, not directly because Stephen Hawking wasn't there, but to take on his material. So that was also impressive. It's because I wanted to see where it was going to go.
No, spoiler alert, he doesn't take it on very impressively, at least in a good way. He's very impressively Turek, I guess you could say.
He's a master manipulator. His primary audience is people who want to be manipulated. People go to see him talk about apologetics to hear reasons why they shouldn't think about it or shouldn't question or shouldn't wonder about changing their mind. So he helps people who have volunteered to be brainwashed, basically. But it's also the higher end of apologetics. So he's kind of well known among Christians who are into apologetics. He's also pretty well known among atheists because of that.
You may see why here shortly, but it's kind of strange because this I didn't see when exactly this video was. Apparently he was talking about Hawking as if he was still alive, so it seemed like it was a while. I don't even remember when Hawking died. So
10 years ago.
Yeah, if anyone in the chat remembers.
But this is not like the old Frank Turek. This is still how he does business. So
he hasn't changed much.
No,
if at all.
He's really just an author with an apologetics company.
Yeah. Do you know what his actual educational or professional background is? Is it anything other than just apologetics?
Radio host, a Christian radio host.
Well, yeah, that's right. Because after I watched this video earlier today, I was watching like another video popped up. So now my YouTube algorithm thinks that I like Frank Turek now. But the next one, it was like someone was introducing him. It's like, oh, the following's from like Frank Turek, like Christian apologist, author, and I think they're about to say like radio host, but like before I just like stopped the video, all I got to was like this author and Ray, or they just got like the Ray part out, and for some reason my
pissed.
At least not that I'm aware of, but no, the way my brain finished it was rabies survivor. I don't know why. That's probably he could be, and if so, good for him. Glad he survived, but
he does have a bit of the mange. I do want to get a couple things out of the way just real fast. Yes, his volume is obnoxious. He is trying. It does sound like he's trying to sell you a car or a person. It's
well, the person of Jesus is who he's trying to sell.
I swear he intentionally gets the same fitting shirt. I've never seen him in a shirt that didn't make his torso look weird as hell.
Yeah, and also like I can't really put my finger on it, but the jeans he's wearing just bother me. I don't really know why. They just bother me.
Yeah. So
anyway, well, it's like I keep delaying this because
let's take a little breather. I'm drinking. What is this? It's called Till Next Time, and it's from Anchorage Brewing Company. Ooh. It's a triple IPA, and it has like this guy in a plague mask.
Ooh, I love the art. Yeah.
Yeah, and then there's this like zombie bucket head guy.
Oh, but he's happy.
Who may or may not be wearing a cauldron.
No, he's not in it. He's just wearing it. That's
no, it's like right pants. Yeah.
He's just embracing the cauldron lifestyle.
I really hope it is a cauldron and not armor because yeah.
It's pretty sweet, actually. All right, so I'm doing like another repeat. This is a Mad Trees Phantom Forest double IPA. I was like, I need something a little stronger tonight.
We'll see if
it did.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, I mean, it's still in their variety packs that are at the store. So
yeah.
So I guess I'll just keep buying those.
I did like it, but I think the Seeing Colors replaced it.
Okay.
Which is not as good, but the double Singing Colors, the IPA or the Imperial version, that's pretty good.
I haven't had that. I did have the regular Seeing Colors just yesterday here at the Taste of Cincinnati festival that was downtown.
Oh, yeah.
Went with my daughter because she still likes hanging out with me, so I'll, take advantage of that anytime. So,
yep.
All right, but yeah, starting with the Phantom Forest, we'll see if once I'm done with this, if Frank drives me to the bourbon. Well, let's find out together.
I have, I've got this little bit of mellow corn.
Ooh, man, a little dab will do you.
Yeah. So I've got vodka if I need it.
Sweet.
Excuse me. Just belched.
It was good. I appreciate it.
All right, so let's get into this, I guess.
All right,
It'll be fun.
It better be. Because if not, this is your fault. All right, so, and also, like, if people aren't familiar with Frank, like, I never really heard him necessarily say exactly, like, where he's coming from, but he seems like very, like, your standard kind of run-of-the-mill, like, conservative evangelical.
Yeah.
Seems like creationist.
Yeah, he is.
I don't think he doesn't believe in evolution, or at least he tries to argue against it lots, and young earth, all that stuff. So
and it's unclear if he believes any of it.
Yeah, it can be hard to tell with salesmen.
Yeah.
I mean, apologists or something. All right. I feel like I've been putting this off long enough. All right, well, you ready to?
Yeah, let's do it.
Start plowing through the fields of Turek.
Oh no,
I don't know what that means, but
I started saying that's what she said. Then you said the fields of Turek, and I was like, Pull the e-brake.
The e-brake, the air brake, the hand brake, all the brake, the engine brake. I don't know. All right. I'm just gonna hit play now. Fuck.
We said last night that the evidence leaves us with one of the following two options. If the universe had
Oh yeah, sorry, pause it already. So we said last night. So even though this says part 1, this is apparently a continuation. But like I was telling Matt before the stream, we're just going to kind of treat this like the book of 1 Corinthians, because people who know 1 Corinthians is actually the second letter Paul wrote. So it's actually 2 Corinthians. We just don't have the first letter because I guess that was referenced or whatever. So we're just going to pretend from Frank's perspective, last night just didn't happen. We're not going to bother with that. This is what he's calling part 1. And I don't want to watch any more of him than I have to.
No, it sounds so horrific.
Yeah. So first let's see. So if the universe had a beginning, let's see what options that leaves us with. We're just going to assume that it did, apparently, but
yeah,
we'll see what our option as atheists are, because apparently we just have the one. So let's see.
it had a beginning, it must have had a beginner. What are our two options? We said number 1, either no one created something out of nothing, which is the atheistic view, or someone created something out of nothing, which is the theistic view. Now, my question.
So, any thoughts first off, Matt?
Yes.
On that?
Okay, false dichotomy. First of all, the only group of people that says that the Earth, anything was created out of nothing. The only people. Yes, he does. He starts with a false dichotomy.
Yes. Thank you, Susan.
Yeah. Yeah. These aren't the only two options, and atheists aren't the group typically at all that says that the universe was created out of nothing. That's the book of Genesis.
Yeah. I'm just going to leave this comment up because it describes it so well. It's like we created our own little subheader. So thank you, Susan.
But out of nothing is an option. We just we might never know, because there's no way to go back and measure the beginning of time. So it'll only always be someone's very best scientific theory, and at some point we may just assume that it's true, and that's maybe I don't know, whatever the reason is we come up with for what makes the most sense for where the universe came from. Could be out of nothing, could be out of something, but we might not ever know that. And so what's another option, Tommy?
Well, first of all, there's the option that the universe didn't actually have a beginning, or that there was nothing created to begin with. Because, like, first of all, it's saying like the atheistic view is no one created something out of nothing. Like, it's like, I don't know how many atheists think that the universe was created, first of all, and by no one. And also, I mean,
I like how it's supposed to sound absurd, right?
Yeah.
Like, no one created something out of nothing. Like, true.
But someone created something out of nothing sounds perfectly reasonable, apparently. So,
yeah.
So here, and then Susan says, I mean, I don't believe anything was created in the sense Frank Turek is talking about. See? Now, first I want to be clear, Susan, do you identify as atheist, or if you care to let us know, because
it just helps with context.
Yeah. But like, obviously, either way, glad you're here.
Indeed.
Thanks for viewing. Yeah. Let's see. and that someone just happens to be God of the Bible. Case closed, of course. Well, yep. Atheist. All right, cool. So apparently this is not the atheistic view. Who knew that we weren't like monolithic? Like, I mean, because like we've said before, atheism isn't like a worldview. It's just a lack of a certain aspect of someone else's worldview, essentially. So he's like, so even if Christians are like, there isn't even necessarily a theistic view on so many, like not atheistic, but a theistic view on so many things. So if they can't unify around everything, then what makes them think all of us who aren't like sharing some grand monolithic ideology can. I don't know.
Yeah.
But apparently of over a decade, probably about 15 years. Well, congratulations.
We're youngins.
Yeah, I mean, it's only been
a couple of years.
Yeah, about 2.5 years or so, something like that.
So so this is where Frank starts. This also gives you an insight into like how hard his audience is thinking about this. This is a group that wants to be told they're correct, and why they're correct, and why they should feel good about being correct, and that's it. That's his job. So we'll see. This really sets the tone for the shit he's about to take down our neck.
All right. All right. Well, thank you, Susan. I'd say, in certain aspects, yes, it has been more fun. I mean, for reasons like, I don't know, Susan, like how much of the show you've seen, if you know much of our backgrounds, but if you or anyone else is curious, I think our very first episode, we gave a little more in-depth of our background. But for me, it was like coming right off of like surviving cancer and then rethinking everything. It's like, it wasn't fun at first, that's for sure. But
weirdly, you didn't become an atheist because of the cancer. Some people are like,
it was really, if anything,
or something.
Yeah, if anything, it was going into remission and beating cancer that turned me atheist, which people find interesting or amusing or befuddling or disappointing, I'm sure, as well. So, all right. Well, we're only 22 seconds into this shit show, so let's.
Yeah, we should let it roll.
Yeah.
My question last night was this: which view is more reasonable?
We already covered that, Frank.
Created something out of nothing, or that someone created something out of nothing? It's got to be someone, right? And last night.
No, it doesn't got to be someone.
Right. And
first, just want to. So, haven't seen any of it. Well, welcome, first-time viewer, Susan.
Excellent.
Well, and also, first of all, don't apologize for derailing us. We do that all the time ourselves.
Yeah.
This is we're just riddled with ADHD. So, I mean, this is just how we roll. So, but yeah, if you watch more, you'll see. And you're not derailing us; you're interacting. We always enjoy audience interaction. So
I'll point this out now in the video, so I don't have. Yes, thank you.
So we appreciate.
Susan.
We're glad we popped up. That's good. And yes,
I didn't mean to gloss over the hello to Susan. And I'm autistic, and so I'm like.
And
I'm like, welcome, person. Now I will say the people things.
Yeah. And I probably am too. Like, go back and watch our last 2 weeks. We discussed neurodivergence in a couple episodes. So, yeah, you'll get to know us that way.
So in the video, I'll point this out now, so I don't have to point it out all the times he does it. He uses volume to distract people, and to get you to dwell on the idea that he wants you to dwell on, which is also the one you want to dwell on if you're a Christian in this audience. And so, like, when he says someone, and he always says someone, like, he wants you to feel like you've examined the other side of an idea by hearing it. Then he'll do something to like redirect you, shut down your attention, some kind of thought stopping thing. So like your brain registers you thinking about it, but you never really finished the thought. And so people walk away feeling like they've considered both sides. And really he just careened around all the right answers.
Careened around or just like ran them right the fuck over. And all right.
Let's see if we can let him talk for a little bit longer.
Okay.
We said, you can ask who made the someone, but that's certainly more reasonable than no one. No one created something.
Look at his little subheading there. Look at his
nothing comes from
credential.
Nothing ever could, right?
Author.
Even Julie Andrews
Remember
knew
that.
Didn't she sing?
Even Julie Andrews. My goodness, it must be correct. Even a fictional character portrayed by Julie Andrews agrees with what he's saying.
Dealt with the who made God question.
Sorry, did you lose me there for a sec?
I did, yeah. Did you lose me?
Yeah, did we lose Frank as well?
No, Frank's back.
No, but was he still going while I was gone?
No.
That's all right. He probably didn't say anything important. So
Julie Andrews of the Gaps argument. That's a new one, isn't it? That was his like ass backwards appeal to authority. He's like, even Julie Andrews says this, and it's like, are you slamming Julie Andrews, or are you like?
And yes, author. Yeah, remember that as he takes on renowned physicist Stephen Hawking. That's his credential. So
question last night, so I won't go into that. No one made God. We know that he's the uncaused first cause.
No.
And then we ask,
because you
if you want to ask a good question of an atheist, ask, if there is no God, why is there something rather than nothing at all?
What's that called? When you the fallacy he just did. Fuck. I lost it.
Yeah. Yeah, apparently it's just because she played a nun that one time. Heavy sarcasm on that one time, of course. Heavy. I like it. I like it heavy. All right, but yeah, so the question has atheist, if there is no God, why is there something rather than nothing at all? And you know what an atheist says to that? At least for most of us, the honest answer, we don't know.
Sorry, I have an injury from work that I just got hung up on something. I'd show it on camera, but you know what an angle grinder is?
I do.
Okay, you ever seen a wire brush wheel? Okay, well,
gosh,
I now know what it sounds and feels like when you bump into your forearm with one that's running.
Oh.
Yeah.
Cool.
No.
No.
That's what was distracting me.
Well, the more you know. All right. So yeah. So Matt. So let me ask you. You're an atheist, at least ish. If there is no God, why is there something rather than nothing at all? Oh hey, and we got a Wesley Curry the second in the house. All right. The second. I like that. Adds air of dignity to it. I love it. That air of dignity, I'm not sure this show deserves, but we'll see. So, and any other atheists in the chat, how would you answer if there is no God? Why is there something rather than nothing at all? Love to hear from you too. See, now, and as Susan says, I've seen Christians get upset because we atheists say, I don't know a lot, and then proceed to go. They go, well, you don't know, but I totally do, and insert God of the gaps argument here. Yes, exactly. Oh, well, here's something I didn't know. Speaking of dignity, atheism is the worship of Satan. So
who knew?
I didn't. So he's fun.
He's been here before.
Yeah. All right. Oh, and looks like we got Kiffany back for our guest from last week from Rackets and Drapes.
Hello.
Hey, how's it going, Kiffany? And Christians say, I don't know. That's a God thing all the time. Mm-hmm. Also true.
All right.
So
let's keep talking.
Mm-hmm. All right.
If there is no God, why does anything exist? If the atheist says, well, the universe has always existed, therefore it doesn't need a cause, you would say what?
Okay.
Search! And add Kalam, cosmological argument. Second law, universe expanding, radiation afterglow, great galaxies, Einstein.
This is something.
And then,
yeah, I've seen
the Kalam cosmological argument
the
confirms
Kalam.
that.
Wait, he just said that an argument confirms something. That's not how arguments work. That's not how the Kalam cosmological argument works.
Mm-hmm.
That's it's a logical what's that called when it's a list? Soliloquy or no?
Syllogism.
Yeah. That doesn't prove anything. You can't use it.
Yeah, and his search thing, like I said, we won't go into it tonight because I don't remember all of it, but I have seen in like other videos and talks of his, he goes through it. So if people want to look it up, like his surge, it's like an acronym for all these different arguments. Yeah. So look it up on your own time if you dare. But yeah, I just remember listening to it. It's like, yeah, that doesn't answer it at all, and that does not at all prove that the universe had a beginning. So
But this
and
is
neither does the Kalam. Like there's like at least there's so many videos like you can find on YouTube of it's just like an hour of philosophers and scientists just completely debunking the Kalam. But,
yeah, and it's absurd to try to make a logical argument about something that happened before everything that makes logical arguments possible. Like,
yeah,
but
so
it's a fool's errand from the beginning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Well, so let's just forget the surge for now. That's just reminding me how much I miss the 90s.
Did he iron his shirt rolled up? Do you see how crisp that is?
That is. Digging that, dude. Yeah. All right.
So the evidence points to the fact that space, matter, and time had a beginning. If that's the case,
not necessarily.
The cause must be spaceless, timeless, and immaterial.
So it's nothing then.
All right. Now that's what we did last night, and we ended on this
just listed
slide.
all
We
the
said,
things.
how do atheists respond?
Yeah.
That was like all the things that makes anything. And he's like, it's like, wait, so you just disproved, so we should stop listening to you because you just said, I'm about to tell you about nothing. And how nothing created something.
Ooh. Oh, Susan found his blog post about surge, I'm assuming. So, well.
Yeah.
Non-existo speed to you there. For my fellow Sir Sick fans.
Yeah, he's a guilty pleasure.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, I don't feel like I hate myself enough today. What's Turek been talking about lately?
Yeah. All right. So what did he just say? I'm just going to back this up a few seconds.
Spaceless, timeless, and
material. Okay. Now, that's what we did last night, and we ended on this slide. We said, how do atheists respond to this evidence? So now we're going to pick up from where we left off last night.
Oh, good.
Okay, you guys ready to go?
No.
Because you're going to say, well, Frank, that's just seems so rational here. If your evidence is good, it makes sense that in the beginning, there must have been a beginner.
Well, I was like, you all think this is super rational. That's
How many people have seen this book, The Grand Design by Stephen Hawking?
Ooh.
Okay, a few of us have.
You ready
this
for the
book
argument
came out
from authority?
About 6 months or so ago. And this book got a lot of press because Stephen Hawking is a very well-respected physicist.
Watch what he does here.
Who has been around a long time. And Hawking is kind of a medical miracle. I don't know if you know much about Hawking, but about 40 or so years ago, he was diagnosed with what is called Lou Gehrig's disease, ALS. And Lou Gehrig's disease normally will kill you in a year or two.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Well, here's Hawking, 40 years later, still alive. So he's sort of a medical miracle.
But not God's miracle. Let's dwell on that.
Well,
let's keep saying medical miracle.
But I mean, but
God
you
doesn't
have to
keep
credit
atheists alive.
Yeah, I mean, but you have to credit God with that, right? Now, I'm sure, like at this point, like I said, I think he was still alive. So I think a lot of Christians are probably like, "Oh, God's keeping him alive, so eventually he'll see the light." Well, that kind of fucking backfired. So God really kind of wasted a miracle on that dude. Apparently, like, no, I'm not saying that. Obviously, you know, I'm glad he was alive as long as I was, and I also wish he was still around so I could apologize to him about how I felt about him when I was still a believer, because I basically listened to fuckwads like Frank here about folks like that. But anyway, speaking of which, let's hear what he has to say.
Brilliant man.
Wait, he
and
says,
he wrote
well, thank
this
you for
book
that.
called The Grand Design with another author.
All right.
That was like just to me, it was really weird how like he just said that just now. He wrote this book with another author.
Right.
Like, that was weird how he, yeah.
I think that's to put doubt in the people's head. Like, oh, maybe, I don't know, what, like just because it is weird he did that, right? And
yeah, and he does it another very weird way later in the video. I want to point out too, but yeah.
And there is somebody who asks a question later that makes more sense of why he did this. It's just like it's really subtle poisoning the well, I think. Like indirectly, sneaky as fuck. And he says he's a brilliant man, brilliant. I think he says it another time. And so what does that mean? Like, Frank's about to like try to disprove the shit out of Stephen Hawking, right? So if if Frank can just steamroll over Hawkins, and Hawkins is brilliant, well, now he's told his audience that he's more brilliant if he starts to make arguments against it that sound good to them. So he's kind of like whatever's the opposite of poisoning the well, he's doing that for himself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, also, and real quick, just point of order, it's Hawking singular.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I always do that.
Sorry, yeah, my brain wouldn't let that go. Sorry.
Sorry.
You get it.
Yeah.
All right.
And also, if his audience thinks those are good reasons, and that Hawking is if they're kind of like in agreement, yeah, he sounds pretty smart. But I see through this, so I'm even smarter than him. It's totally an ego boost.
Mm-hmm.
It's just increase the feeling of safety as much as possible.
Yeah, because also, like I said, bear in mind as he's talking about trying to refute Stephen Hawking. Remember his credential. You'll see it pop up later, just as Susan said. Author.
Yeah. Also, that's clip art as hell. Like his little name thing. That's early 2000s. Like wingdings font
the
or clip
little
art
lower
stuff.
third when it comes across. Yeah. It's classic, man. It takes me back.
Yeah.
All right.
It's also gay as hell. Like it's kind of funny.
Which we're fine with, but Frank obviously he thinks differently. We may talk about his opinions on the gays at another time, but not tonight. This is already too much for me. So.
Let's take a look at what he says in this book, because it got a lot of attention, and he is a leading atheist. All right.
Wait.
First of all,
leading atheist.
Yeah.
Apologists love to throw that out. They'll basically just find anyone that they think they can have like a good argument against or whatever, and be like, "Oh, this is a leading atheist." That means like
leading atheist. Wants everybody to know that, because he's about to show him who's boss.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which again, just that idea that atheism is somehow like monolithic or whatever, and because Stephen Hawking says it, that means that we all just totally agree with them. And yeah,
they really forget that
Hawking agrees.
Christians are the people that proof text from other people and use the appeal to authority all the time. Like, just because he's well known and an expert in his field and an atheist, it doesn't mean that he is like I don't know, like the quadruple star general of the atheists,
Yeah.
Is that the universe had a beginning, and he cites much of the surge evidence we've already been through.
He
agrees with what we've been through so far. Secondly,
Let's
he
just
agrees
say
that our universe appears to be highly fine-tuned for life.
Appears to be. Like, this is something even like Richard Dawkins will say. Like, he'll use... He actually kind of came up with the term like a designoid, meaning like an animal or plant or organism of some kind that looks designed. But that's just because, humans, like, just the way we're wired. We look for agency, and like we think there's, being people, we think there's something special about the way we do things. So we think, oh well, when we make things, like, we design it. So if we look out at something else and like, oh well, this, because we just have these, I don't want to say completely arbitrary, but we have these like kind of borders in our mind. Okay, as soon as something like crosses this line, okay, now it's complex. So now that requires a designer, because, when we make things, if it needs to be complex, we need to do a good job designing it. And it takes a lot of work. But so when you look out into, the universe, there are a lot of very complex things. But another thing to keep in mind about that is like, ask any designer, what is the hallmark of good design? Simplicity, not over complexity.
Only as much as I went to design school for product design.
Oh yeah,
and awesome design is perfect balance between form and function, and form being like how pretty it is, how nice, how pleasant it is to be around, and then function is how useful is it for whatever you're trying to do it, whatever you're trying to use it with or for. And so like the perfect stuff you've probably seen it. Like there's IKEA chairs that are based on shit. I don't remember the guy's name. Famous designer. But IKEA is a good description of that. Some of their furniture is very functional, and it also looks very cool. But they do like as little additions as possible to make it look cool. It's just it's almost meditative to use something that's perfectly designed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Meanwhile, the human body has like a nerve cluster that like.
There's
it goes down and loops around and comes back up to get from
there's a nerve that
it
goes, it's something like just goes, I don't remember what exact organs like it connects like to the brain, but it's all like in the head, but the nerve goes down into the chest under the aorta and then back up. And apparently the same thing in giraffes, so it's even a longer trip for them. But but this phrase like highly fine-tuned for life. Now that can also be misleading depending on how you're looking at that. Now you could say it's fine. There's fine-tuned just for life in the sense that it's fine-tuned for life to be like flourishing and just kind of a major part of the universe, or is it just fine-tuned for life to be possible? That's another thing. Because like look at the universe, like how common is life? Because if I like looking out across like the vast expanse of the universe, at least from what we can see, if I would say the universe is fine-tuned for anything, I'd say it's fine-tuned for vacuum and explosions.
Yeah, you could leave Earth, go in any direction in a straight line until you get to the edge of the universe, and there does appear to be an edge. So if you could go in a straight line to the edge of the universe and hit nothing your whole way there. In fact, like it would be the probability of hitting anything on your way there, like in any direction, is nearly zero. Yeah, so it's empty blackness for the most part.
Yeah, and plus, but speaking of like fine-tuned, well, because like was made or just exists in such a perfect way that life can form on it. Like the example I like to think of is, so we think just the fact that life can exist, and we obviously think life is very special. So we're like, well, clearly this like someone intended for life to be here just because it's clearly so amazing. But I think the example I like to use is bread. So was bread designed to grow mold? No, but it does it very well, as if it were actually.
Well, but you could take that back further and be like, well, everything is made out of, like, God may have designed that to grow mold and all that. So, sorry, I just broke your metaphor. You're like, I got a point, and I'm like, the fuck you do.
Well, no, I mean, it wasn't necessarily meant to be like a perfect one for one, because obviously, bread is something that's designed. What I'm just saying is just because even if you were to grant that the universe, even if I were to grant that the universe had a designer, to say it was designed for life, like it almost seems like life was just kind of an accident, even if you were to say, yeah. Yes, and from mold, we did find antibiotics, which are
I think this is where we'll find the cure to cancer.
So I just need to buy more bread and just let it sit out. Is that what you're saying?
Well, no, not necessarily in mold. I'm just saying like in nature and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, there have been a lot of medical discoveries that were total accidents, but
yeah.
Mold in the right context can be pretty cool. All right. So anyway, all right.
The fine-tuned thing. Well, there's the puddle analogy, which I won't go into.
Oh, yeah.
Good.
Douglas Adams. Yeah, look it up.
Yeah.
That's fantastic analogy. Yeah.
But if so, here's a way to frame it maybe to somebody. So, like, if the universe was going to evolve life on its own due to scientific principles, it would develop exactly how that universe allows for that. So, yes, looking back, it looks fine-tuned, but also anything that evolved to this point was going to look fine-tuned also, because it was fine-tuned, but just through like the sieve and the maze of natural and chemistry and physical development.
Yeah, basically fine-tuned by the natural processes.
Yeah,
which we'll find out later.
Fine-tuned by the Big Bang or whatever the start of the universe was.
Yeah,
and that's super deep to me. Like I am the universe matting.
And I am the universe Tommying. So
yeah,
glad to be
here.
The
universe never Tommied quite like this before.
No. Thank Atheismo.
But that's how it is for everybody, though.
All right.
That's super cool to me.
Speaking of super cool, here's something that's not. I got nothing.
And we're going to talk more about the fine-tuning here in a few minutes. I mentioned a little bit of it when we talked about the G in Surge, the great galaxy seeds.
The point in Zoom when he does, when he points at something, he's like a fucking Muppet. He's like, all right, never mind. Okay,
but Hawking's already agreeing with that. Now let's go into the book. And by the way, last night we had a question from a young lady in the back. She was holding her little baby, remember?
Why is he going
book.
boom?
So let's go through this book in a little bit more detail.
Why is he going what?
Here are some philosophical problems with the book. Here's
he's what's the word? Very emotive with his hands. There's
not just that, but like he stuck out his chest when he did it, so it was creepy.
He was getting in character, or something.
Maybe she was breastfeeding.
Here's what Hawking says. Before I put that up here, let me point this. One thing I like about Hawking is that he tells you exactly where he's coming from.
Because
he does not exactly what he's saying. Bush. He just says it in plain English. Here's what he says.
See?
On page 34. This book is rooted in the concept of scientific determinism, which implies that there are no miracles or exceptions to the laws of nature. Now, what is scientific determinism? The lady here last night stated it very well.
This is where
he was saying, Hawking was saying, that
he's going to say a bunch of stuff that's accurate, but then like piss on it right away with the tone of voice. And this is where I realized that he knows exactly what the correct scientific answer is, but he's going to steer around it. And to know exactly what you're trying to steer around, like you have to understand it. Mm-hmm. So he gets it.
All right, let's see him act like he doesn't, though.
Yeah.
Every cause in the world, in the universe, is the product of a prior natural event.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
So there are no miracles. There are no exceptions to this.
Depends how you define
Everything is just a product of a previous natural event.
Ding, ding.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's called scientific determinism. What does that imply? First of all, this is a philosophical assertion, not a scientific conclusion.
Volume went up. He's redirecting.
Question in favor of atheism. Do you see that this is a philosophical conclusion he makes here? He can't learn this by doing some sort of experiment.
But here's the thing: you can. Like, this is how scientists have come to the conclusion, at least some of them have, like with determinism, because they've looked at the universe and they've looked at how physics and molecules and chemistry behaves. And for those who do agree with determinism, like that's where it came from, because they did science and like, hey, things kind of look like they might be determined by things.
And he's
like, no, it's just philosophical.
He's doing that thing where he's like talking slow, taking the information, blah, blah, blah. And then and it's just like, and what, like, this is the third time I've seen this. Okay. And when he raises his voice like that and he starts talking about philosophical, that's not a philosophical. It has philosophical implications, but that in itself is not a philosophical statement. It's a scientific statement that has evidence for it, because we've never seen anything that's been studied that didn't have a cause. So it didn't have a cause that we understood. Now, when you chase it back far enough to like quantum science and the beginning of the universe stuff, that is not understood but it behaves in a way that can be understood. And so it's not like we can't understand it. It's just we don't have the theories and the methods to understand it yet, but it behaves like things that we can understand.
Right.
So a miracle would be something that like it has like no cause. Like if it's God, if God is timeless, timeless, spaceless, and immaterial, whatever he said.
If godless is time.
So like if God is from another dimension and like poking into this one and causing a miracle to happen, then from our perspective, it has no cause in this universe. And everything does seem to have a cause. So that's why like also like miracle is kind of a floaty term. Like some people use miracle, but they're atheists or they're agnostic, and a miracle is just something big and wow I didn't understand. And then it goes to like the other angle where it's religious people saying it. So like when somebody like wants to poo-poo on miracles, it's such a metaphorical term for so many different people that I don't think it's a good part of an argument myself.
Yeah, because because I'll still use the term like things seem like miraculous, just in, my own life, refer to like, the miracle of modern medicine. For those who like follow me on Facebook, I started like another page for like the more like atheist stuff called The Lesser Miracle, which is like a take on Hume's thing about rejecting the greater miracle. I'm like, well, but I think I kind of like how the greater miracle implies that there's a lesser miracle. It's like something that still seems miraculous, but it's not as great of a leap of like logic or whatever than what most people might consider miraculous or whatever. So so follow me there too, The Lesser Miracle, also on Instagram. All right, enough. I would say shameless plug, but I felt a little shame for that anyway.
This is not a scientific conclusion. This is a philosophical presupposition. He says,
based on science,
scientific determinism is true. Therefore, there are no miracles. Therefore, atheism is true. How does he know this? Because he said so.
Oh my goodness! This is where he starts going in and he starts repeating all the things that like Christians do, and he like tells his audience this is what atheists do, and I'm like, you are reading them their mail. This is where they live, and like
this is such projection. Like,
he's also amazing at that. Yeah, I wouldn't say. No, this might sound mean, but like I'm also okay if it's mean. Like I wouldn't say I respect him. I wouldn't say I like him.
One thing I do respect him. One thing I respect him for, real quick. Yeah, what's that?
He impresses me.
Yeah. One thing I will respect him for, but this might actually be more hubris on his part than something actually respectable. So he's done debates like for years, but apparently the very first debate he ever did was against Christopher Hitchens, which now it didn't go well for him, but
that solidified him in the apologetics world because he was the only guy willing to take on Hitchens. At the time, probably the only person.
Yeah, actually, I think Craig debated him.
But before or after Turek?
Yeah, I actually don't know. I'd have to go back to the lore on this one. But yeah,
but still, he's a marketing guy. Like I'm impressed, and I'm actually really glad that he's not like a political operative or something. Because, dude. He has no idea how much money he could make. I hope to God, as portrayed by Morgan Freeman, that he never gets into that line of work. Like as deftly as he redirects and like takes control of your attention while he's doing his thing. He would put out some amazingly terrible political ads.
Yeah. Oh, and this might be getting very specific, but I know like we have people who watch us who also maybe still attend or used to attend Crossroads Church. For those people who know, tell me if he reminds you of Tome. because I've been getting a lot of those kind of vibes from him during this video and other videos as well. But
this is just as a great shot for like, I swear he makes enough money to get all his shirts tailored. And his shirts seem to have been intentionally tailored to like prove to everyone he does have pecs. Because look at it. It's like baggy in the wrong places, right? But like really snug in the chesticle area.
Or maybe he's like stuffing his shirt. I don't know.
We're getting all kinds of shoulder pads down there.
Anyway, so what was he talking about? Let's back him up.
I don't know.
Determinism is true. Therefore, there are no miracles. Therefore, atheism is true.
The assertion.
How does he know this?
Because
he said so.
No, not because he said so. Because this is what science
it's an assertion.
Shows.
There's no evidence for this.
Oh my goodness!
This is just a philosophical assertion. No, that's why I said last night, science doesn't say anything. Scientists do.
This is okay. Pause it. That's a thought-stopping technique. Absolutely a thought-stopping technique. It's like when you start to hear something from scientists and you're like, wait, that is a big point, and I never considered that. Now you remember science doesn't say things, scientists do, and people have motives, but that's not how you get anywhere in a scientific field. How do you get somewhere and make a name for yourself? You disprove something big. And so the whole structure is set up to reward people who find new truth, which often comes from proving something else wrong. So there's this whole argument that like science is a system built to like cage theism or something.
Yeah, he'll get to that later, I think. Yeah,
it's not a real thing. And I used to think that was a thing. But it's because of thought-stopping techniques like this, which are actual brainwashing techniques, where you volunteer after hearing it and you like it and what it does for you, you use it and you voluntarily redirect your own thoughts away from really considering something. And every time I started thinking about a science thing or a creation science thing, and somebody was like, "Hey, that doesn't make any sense because of evidence," and I would say, and my brain would automatically go to whatever like loop around thought, like redirecting thing that I had read or somebody had said to me. And then I was comfortable and I felt good about myself.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's the same kind of like scientific skepticism, like gets you to not trust scientists. Like this is like the same shit that people like Answers in Genesis try to pull all the time. Whereas they so they'll always say, well, this is the scientific atheistic worldview. And it's like God's word versus man's word. And which one are you going to trust? It's like, yeah. So, all right. I guess we have to let him keep talking, though. That's kind of why we brought him here.
Release the atheist angle.
You're not good at philosophy. You may come up with bad scientific conclusions.
All right.
Oh, yeah. This is a point that comes up later. He said,
yeah.
So what did he just say? I'm sorry. Let's just.
If you're bad at philosophy, you'll come up with bad
science. Science doesn't say anything.
Yeah.
Scientists do.
Yeah. And
if you're not good at philosophy, you may come up with bad scientific conclusions.
You may.
Yeah. Now, because remember that connection he's drawing there between. He's basically saying in order to do good science, you got to know philosophy and do philosophy well. Remember that.
Depends. Also, I think this is a weird assertion that Stephen Hawking didn't. I think he knows this, but his audience wouldn't. That once you get into more theoretical science, the lines between science and philosophy get blurred because even deeper, on quantum physics level. There's a lot of philosophy involved, and that is the route to how they determine. They're like, this makes no sense, and so they're like, science makes no sense. This at the moment, we don't know where to proceed. Let's look at this philosophically, and then that usually helps them think about it in a different way because it gets real nebulous. So to just It's not even an inference. It to cause people to draw the conclusion that Stephen Hawking didn't dabble in philosophy, like one of the smartest guys in the history of the planet. Was a philosophy like noob, but that doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, and plus it's also like by making those two seem so connected, it's basically saying, well, if you hear a scientist that's bad at philosophy, then that means you can't trust his science.
And what does bad at philosophy mean? Bad at philosophy as he has put forth so far, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So more poisoning of the well,
more false dichotomy.
Yeah.
This is good philosophy. Anything different is not.
Yeah. If only Frank was good at philosophy, maybe. No.
And this book that Hawking has written is just loaded with philosophical presuppositions that he can't prove. Atheistic philosophical presuppositions. Suppose some Christian said, miracles do occur. In fact, they happen all the time. And then you ask the Christian why, and he just says, because I said so.
No, they say because the Bible says so. Or
that's
God
an assertion.
Yeah.
I need some evidence.
Yeah, well, he's using this as a bad example.
For this. This is just what.
Yeah. Yeah, Stephen Hawking, the world-renowned physicist, has no evidence for the scientific claim that he's making about determinism. Like,
and then he'll proof text from the book and pull sentences out.
Yeah, so
in some cases, like 60 pages apart.
Yeah. So speaking of projection, like here, Frank is the one making the assertion that Stephen Hawking has no evidence and is therefore just making assertion. But it's Frank the one, like.
But will show no evidence at all.
He's gonna make me say all the fuck words tonight. I'm just feeling it. All right.
You know he has a special joy from that. And what is happening with his genes?
Yeah, I feel like maybe we should just watch this. I feel like this might sound weird to say. I almost want to just focus more on his genes than what he's talking about.
I think he's wearing Zoolander's jeans. No, they look like
just what he says.
Let's see if we get a better.
Secondly, this also means that Hawking's thoughts in this book are determined. In other words, we have no reason to believe.
Hold on.
This also.
First of all, like formatting, Frank, you're cutting off the word at the bottom of your slide. I think that says true with an exclamation point.
Who's your PowerPoint troll?
Like,
come on.
I swear, man. All right, so here he's making one of my favorite points. He makes. I'll let him finish.
Also means that Hawking's thoughts in this book are determined. In other words, we have no reason to believe they are true.
False equivalency.
What?
Non sequitur false equivalency.
But okay. Why? Why does being predetermined mean you can't trust it?
See, he harped on the guy making assertions supposedly in the book, which is the red flag that he's about to make an assertion and he wants you focused on that one, and he's a fucking magician.
So think of predetermined. Think of it like he might call like something is just programmed to perform a certain function. Does that mean that when I put a math problem into my calculator, that because my calculator is programmed and it's predetermined to do certain functions based on what buttons are pushed, does that mean that I can't trust the answer that it gives me?
No, he's just, I swear, he's brilliant at cramming as many logical fallacies together as possible.
I know. See, if you don't know philosophy, then you're just not going to have good apologetics.
Cognitive distortion and logical fallacies. Bias is also important to know, but those first two, getting familiar with what that looks like, and you realize that corporations and politicians and church, theology of any kind, that's how they manipulate people. And if you can recognize it, they can't do it anymore, or at least not as nearly as much. I catch myself now and then.
Right. But... All right. We got to do more of this now. Okay. This keeps getting more painful the more we go. So, apologies, folks. I'm trying to.
If every effect in the universe is a product of a previous natural cause, then so are his thoughts.
True.
His thoughts are the product of a previous natural cause.
But guess what? Nobody saw that coming.
Free will, which means he's not really reasoning. What's he doing? He's simply a product of previous natural causes. He doesn't have free will. Correct. He's not really thinking. Right. These thoughts are just coming to him because of some brain chemistry going on here. He's just molecules in motion. If that's the case,
he understands. Like that was the explanation.
Okay. That phrase, molecules in motion, for people unfamiliar with Frank, I mean, people who are familiar with him, you'll recognize that term because he uses that phrase all the fucking time.
He's like, just molecules, because he swears it's what tweaks people, like who are Christians. They're like, I'm not just molecules.
It's like, well, it's tweaking me. God damn it. So, well, I mean, because
it tweaks the ego.
Like, of course, your molecules in motion. Like, everything is molecules, and if they weren't in motion, I'd say you'd be dead. But even then, they're still in motion. But
yeah, you'd be at absolute zero.
Yeah, that's 0 Kelvin, which is, from what my understanding, is still only theoretical. But
yeah, that's when molecular movement ceases completely.
Yeah, but not just theoretical in the sense that like evolution and gravity and germs are a theory. That's another thing they like to conflate.
Well, in science, a theory is the highest. It's the highest ranking for an idea.
As high a certainty as we can attain in science is theory. Yes, like we said, gravity is still just a theory. Molecules are still just a theory.
Like in science, theory has a different meaning than colloquially. Where if you say I have a theory, we that means a hypothesis or an idea to people typically.
Yeah. In science, what most people mean colloquially. That's my word I'm going to struggle with this week. Like particularly. See, I've mastered that one. But yeah, the way most people colloquially say theory is the way scientists would use the word hypothesis, essentially.
Yeah.
Any scientists in the chat, please correct me.
From what I understand, a theory means as close to a fact as we're able to get. And normally facts support the theory. So it's like the cumulative effect of facts.
Yeah, but even with things like evolution and like gravity, from what I understand, it's really more the mechanism is the theory, because like we observe the effects of gravity, we observe evolution. It's just a theory is the actual mechanism.
It's a theory about the fact of evolution.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
So
that's how I heard somebody describe it, and I like.
So let's hear him continue to misunderstand things.
Case, why should we believe what he says?
Because he can back it up with science.
This is what some might say a universal acid that burns everything up. It burns its own theory up.
Again, projection.
To say determinism is true is to say, well, how did I come to the conclusion that determinism is true? Because I had a previous natural cause it in my mind. Well, how would I know what I'm really believing is true then? You wouldn't.
No.
But it was determined.
So he's just given up the entire show here by saying this.
We don't know.
How can you be a scientist? How can you...
We don't know the entire universe isn't an illusion. Or a projection of a
or at least
dimension.
or at least our version of it. Like the way we've like constructed it in our own minds. Yeah.
Like there's a theory the universe is a planar projection of a higher dimension. It's like a 3-dimensional shadow cast onto a 2-dimensional surface, except this would be it's like a 4-dimensional shadow cast from the 5th dimension or higher. So
just all the dimensions.
There's math that kind of works with it, but like trying to describe it in just regular language, you can only do it metaphorically. And it's an unfalsifiable hypothesis. Like it tends to work with some of the things we see. but also in the same way, like the universe, we could be inside a black hole, and that's the only way universes are created, or are at the what do you call it, the popular end of a black hole.
That's what I call it now.
Yeah, every universe is a black hole dingleberry.
Yeah, we discussed this last week while Tiffany was having technical issues or smoke break or something. But yeah,
we went all kinds of bodily function then.
Yeah, Aaron was very glad that you came back, Kiff. So. Okay, now first I just want to point out I'm very proud of us. See, like we're already 7.5 minutes into this. If you remember our last attempts at video reactions, it took us a full 2 hours to go 5 minutes. So we're just over an hour.
Well, we had a lot of baggage with that guy and his people.
That's true.
Because we spent a lot of time around his people, like days and days at a time. So
yeah. Oh well, but yeah, go back and watch those. I think it was like how not to witness to an atheist or something like that. So yeah, Tiffany remembers. That'll teach you to take breaks. See what you did to the people, like subjecting them to more of us. But anyway,
can you discover truth if this is the case? You can't. In fact, he says it on page 32. Free will is just an illusion.
And he says that, like, you hear how crazy that sounds? Like, no, it very well may actually be. Yeah. It's like, look, like, a mocking tone is not rhetoric, Frank.
No, that's
Free will is just an illusion, then so are his.
Yeah, that's an argument for incredulity with just his tone of voice.
Mm-hmm.
He knows. I'm telling you, he knows exactly what he's doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Scarily so.
When you look at his face.
This is the case. You can't.
Yeah. Sorry, I just backed it up a little bit.
In fact, he says it on page 32. Free will is just an illusion.
Prove him
If
wrong.
free will is just an illusion, then so are his thoughts in this book, aren't they?
No, they're not an illusion.
Yeah. I love how he goes, like, aren't they? He's like, right.
Yeah, he tells you the answer.
Yeah.
No, they're
like, what?
His conclusions are not an illusion just because free will is an illusion.
Which, again, going back to my calculator, if I put in my calculator 2 + 2 and I hit the equal sign and it gives me 4, like, my calculator doesn't have free will. Does that mean the 4 is an illusion?
No, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, so...
He's doing people a disservice because I think...
This is a dream, basically.
It's just a dream, basically.
So you're saying he's doing people a disservice?
Some of these
Please
people
expand on that.
Some of these people wanted... some of these people just wanted to be told they were correct. Some of these people in the audience wanted to be... Or people watching this who are Christians want to be told they're right, or they want to be told that their beliefs are correct. Or some of these people probably really want to know what's actually true, and he's only talking to the people that just want to be told they're right, but leading people to believe that they're getting the answer. And I don't think it's helpful for people to listen to apologisticians. Because what keeps them in business is being needed. So, like, once you give people the answer, well, now they have the answer. They can go on their merry way. But if they need to be kept in the loop of circular reasoning or circular logic, like, his company goes out of... He's the CEO of Cross-Examined, which is, I don't know, nearly witty for a company name. It's apologetics based, but he loses his entire livelihood if he's not needed. And so his job is to keep himself getting a paycheck and not to keep people informed. Yeah.
Yep. There's Tiffany says here, projection preaching. Yep. Misleading because he doesn't really have answers to the actual question or statement.
Yeah. And
pretty much.
And he makes a couple comments later that kind of like let you know that he knows his audience doesn't really want answers. They just want to know that they don't have to listen to Stephen Hawking.
Right.
Like they're safe without Stephen.
Yeah. Or safe from him, as he'll talk about later, which is, So, and that's my thing, like with apologetics.
There is definitely, I think with all apologetics guys, there is a level of dishonesty there where they know what most people want from them and they're going to give them just that under the illusion that they're giving them like facts and things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because when me and Matt talk about things like apologists wanting to basically just like alleviate the fears of the people, like the people come to see them just because they just want to hear something that kind of puts their like fears or doubts to rest. Like, and we say that because I know, at least from my experience, like I used to be super into apologetics, and looking back on it, it's like, yeah, that's exactly what it was. Like, I just wanted any answer, like whether it was good or not. Just the fact that I heard, well, this person is apparently like, he's a biblical scholar, or he's a pastor, or he's a teacher, or he's an author. That was good enough for me. It's like, well, they had an answer. Like, look, all I needed was someone to tell me that those atheists don't know what they're talking about. Like, that's all I needed. So,
and we both worked at, not worked. We both volunteered at that spiritual warfare prayer tent thing.
Yeah, like Kip said, that's what sells the books and the seats.
Yep.
Yeah, keeps them coming.
So Tommy and I both volunteered. I did it for, I don't know, 7 years, 7 years, something like that. I did at least 10 of these camps. Some of them happen more than once a year, so that's why I don't know for sure like how many years it was.
I think it started in 2015.
Okay, yeah, so it's been almost 10 years now.
Yeah.
I really miss it. Like, I still kind of want to go back because there's an aspect of humanity that like I haven't been able to find anywhere else. So it's like 500 to 1,000 dudes camping for like this like revival, evangelical, non-denominational thing, and we worked in the prayer tent, and we didn't individually meet with this many guys, but there were hundreds of guys that had came into the tent for prayer and left. There were like 50 of us in there doing prayer or something at that time. And people who weren't, the guys who weren't feeling well off, I prefer saying people instead of guys, but the people that,
sorry, looks like we lost me again briefly, but yeah.
No, you're back. Cool. For the most part, people who came in wanted, they were fearful or upset. When people came in because they were happy and just wanted to like go through something good with someone in prayer, like we didn't have training for that. Like that sounds funny, but like legit, we didn't know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
I just kept trying to find problems with them.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah. Whereas like now,
because like we were there, like it's similar to like Frank needing a job. It's like, well, that's what we're there for, is to find problems in dudes and fix them.
Well, which is why they usually came in. They're like, I've got a problem, and they either know what it is or think they know what it is. The weird part was like, it was some awesome pure counseling. Like if we could just take the religion out of it. Because there were times guys would come in, they're like, I think this is my problem. I want to talk about this. And then you start asking them some questions, and then you realize that like, it's this other thing. You know what I mean? Like the thing that they're bothered by is kind of a symptom of something else.
Yeah.
And then you talk about that other thing, and there's like big emotions and feels that happen. And
oh yeah.
Like, I missed that, and I want to get back. I would love to kind of take the methods from that and use it in a secular way. Because I think something was going on that was fire. And
yeah.
And I did seem to notice, we start to pick up on nonverbals or things people, or you kind of like your empathy increases, and you kind of pick up on what they're feeling, and super cool. That was a tangent.
Yeah, a bit. It's all right. It made me forget that Frank was here for a sec. So,
my whole point was that like we've seen people in need like over and over, and like what makes them feel better and that kind of thing.
Yeah. So Frank's here for all of that to give them their fix. All right. What else you got, Frankie?
well, why should we believe it then?
Oh yeah, because
you see why you can't do science unless you know philosophy. These are all philosophical assertions. And
like I said, like you can't do science unless you know philosophy. Remember that. That's a claim he's making. He's going to refute it later. Which that was one of the things that Matt, like when he first shared this video with me, like that's one of the things he said about it, that there are just so many self-owns in this video. It's fantastic. So
if you don't pick them out, you're going to be, wow, how do I deal with Hawking when he gets to the end and he says there's no God?
We need Frank Turek. That's what we need.
Well, here's the thing. How do you deal with someone who says there's no God? Well, if there was a God, it should be pretty damn easy.
Yeah.
It's like, how do we deal with people who say the earth is flat? We go to space and take a fucking picture of it and say, look, it's not fucking flat. Or we just show them how gravity works. Or we show them all the other planets in the solar system that are not flat. Like, you see how those work? This is kind of the same thing. But So again, this is one of my issues with apologetics. It's like, it's one of the things that like we shouldn't need it, because they keep selling this idea as if it is so obvious and so ubiquitous and so apparent, or at least should be, based on the God that they're trying to sell us, who is apparently all powerful and all about having us know that he exists and having a relationship with us. Like, well, if that was really the case, then you shouldn't need to try to convince me that he exists. It should just be so fucking obvious that we don't need apologists.
If the Bible speaks for itself, then why do we need the purpose-driven life? And like, why do we need
the entire Christian bookstore? Yeah,
the appendix, basically. Like the appendix of the Bible is still being written.
Yeah, because here's the thing, and I still maintain, like, as much as I definitely still have some baggage with the Bible, and the way I talk about it a lot of times, I know it like reflects that, but there is some. I know, right? Glad I've been able to hide it so well, but like I said, but there are like there's some good stuff in there. Like basically, like since like leaving Christianity, I've actually become more partial to the book of Ecclesiastes because I just love the nihilism of it. Now he kind of ruins it all at the end when he's like, oh, but the whole purpose of life is just serve God and keep his commandments. I'm like, dude, you fucked it up. but anyway, but when put in the lens of like apologists and like religion in general, like when they try to take the whole thing and make it this one big monolithic basically thing that it actually isn't, then it kind of like just
one giant big glass-studded dildo.
Exactly. Just like our buddy Derek Day said. If you're curious what that means, and I hope you are.
He's our podcast daddy.
Yeah. Our pod daddy.
Pod. That sounds like a polygamy sex thing.
Sorry, like Derek, if you're watching,
I don't know why going like this made me able to finish my sentence.
It's like I need something together. It's like I need something to get me through this sentence.
Yeah.
But yeah, Derek, you are officially our pod daddy. I don't know how you feel about it, but I like it. So there you go. For people who don't know, go back and watch our episode a couple months ago, Life Before Death with Derek Day. Awesome dude. It's a fantastic conversation. Need to have him on again sometime. Anyway.
If you don't know philosophy, you won't be able to pick this out. Now he says that he asks a question here, and you're not going to believe. Well, maybe you will believe it from what I just said. But check out this question
setting it up
that
as
Stephen Hawking, the great physicist, asked. He says, "Do we really have reason to believe that an objective reality exists?"
No, we don't.
What do physicists do? They observe.
I thought he was like
reality, theoretically.
I thought he was actually asking
and
us.
He asked a question, right? And then like you start to think about it, and then he redirects with another question. So if you're in his audience or the person watching this video, like you start to think about it, and then he tells you to think about something else. And when your brain hears a question, it can't not answer it.
Yeah.
And it's just, it always happens subconsciously or consciously. Like it's a thing. So when he asks a question and it's like, well, that's worth thinking about. And he's like, what do physicists do?
Yeah.
That's him saying, don't think about what I just asked you.
It's like, I immediately regret it. Redirect.
They discover what happens in the physical world, the objective physical world, right? Hawking is asking the question, do we even have any reason to believe that this physical, objective reality exists? You know what he says? What do you think he says? He says no. That's right. He says no, there is no model independent concept of reality.
Okay, go ahead and pause
That's what he says.
Okay. So everything within this universe is going to have a subjective opinion, because even when we have like a collective understanding of things in science, it's still a collection of people or devices that are measuring it, who are measuring or experiencing a subjective reality. So scientific theories are our very best approach to getting a universal fact or like idea about a process of how something happens. But because we will only ever be in this universe, like we only have this universe's subjective viewpoint to pull from. To get an objective view of this universe, we'd have to go outside this universe, which is probably never going to be possible. And so all truth, this is probably what Hawking was getting at, like it in this universe, all scientific understanding, all truth is going to be subjective truth, because there are only subjective beings to measure it. Now you can take, then that just handles like the like physical being in this universe kinds of beings. Maybe if you were to take a step back and say, okay, well God did all this stuff, and so like God's truth is objective truth. Well, no, that's like more objective than humanity's subjective truth, but it's still subjective because it's God's view, and
because God is a subject,
right? And so then it's still one perspective, and the only way to really solve that problem is if God is like, if the reality of things is at least pantheism, where God is in everything and everything is part of God.
Panentheism?
Then what? That's pantheism.
Pantheism. Okay.
Pantheism is like God is the universe, basically.
Okay.
And then panentheism is God is the universe and more, with jazz hands.
It's the jazz hands that really makes it true.
Yeah.
So. Also, I decided like third unofficial mascot for the evening is the bourbon. So
I might have to go up and get my my Danish vodka.
It's gonna get me through this like a bro.
Yep. So all we've got are subjective viewpoints, unless God is everywhere and everything, in which case it becomes like, what is God becomes a nonsense question. Also, what is real becomes nonsense, because you can't separate the two. It's just kind of like we just go and then we have to stop asking.
Yeah. Just keep making noises until the question goes away.
Yeah.
So, all right. All right, do you need to refill on something while we let Frank kind of go here? Or?
Nah, I'm good.
Okay. Well, you let me know.
Now go back to what we talked about last night. The Roadrunner tactic, applying a claim to itself.
Why is that Roadrunner?
Apply.
I think it's maybe because it's like how the Roadrunner kept turning Wile E. Coyote's traps on him. I'm assuming that's it.
Oh,
I'd be very disappointed if I was correct, because that means I know how Turek thinks and I'm in line with that, and I need more bourbon.
But his whole deal is he thinks how you think.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like,
I don't like that. It makes me feel dirty.
Or like Frank Turek is smart because you're smart.
Speaking of non sequiturs,
no, that's
often does.
No, that's perfect. that just came out.
No,
of my
that
head.
is.
Yeah, like
no, that's brilliant. Like,
yeah,
but it's scary too.
No, but that's Trump's deal too.
Wow.
Like Trump's smart because you're smart. Who's smart?
Yeah.
This guy.
I mean, I haven't heard him say specifically, but I would guess this guy's a Trumper. But yeah, I know he's at least like conservative Republican, so probably just Trumper by default.
But probably not for the reasons we think.
Maybe worse.
I have that feeling.
All right, so let's get back to, like, is this self-defeating?
To itself, what do you get? You see, this is self-defeating. Is that concept of reality objective?
No.
Is it?
No.
It defeats itself. This also makes science impossible.
No, because from our perspective, there is still like a universal subjective viewpoint that we can get to with the scientific discoveries and just the process of science. It's
and if also like
science isn't about
logic.
It's not about what's finding objective truth. Like that's why every like very accepted fact in science is called a theory, because we'll never get to an absolute fact in science because everyone understands all we have is our subjective view.
Right. Now here's the thing. Also, if there is no objective reality, like, you know what other assertions that makes impossible? Every assertion that Frank is making.
Yeah.
Because, like, if we can't determine objective reality, then neither can he.
Is there like a pot kettle fallacy? There should be.
Or, like, you know, this goes beyond like the pot calling the kettle black. This is what like Al Aaron Ra calls it. This is like the pot calling the silverware black.
And the kitchen just went, what?
Kill
I just
because
like
if there is no objective reality, what is the scientist?
What's that?
I just had this picture of like cartoon cabinets inside my head, like going, what?
Thank you for that. I appreciate that and second it or something.
Trying to observe. See, science is a search for causes. And if there is no objective reality, or let me put it this way, science is a search for causes in objective reality. If there is no objective reality, what are we looking for? And
no,
if
he just made up a definition for science.
Previous natural cause, are we even reasoning, or are we just reacting?
See, he assumes there's a difference.
Yeah. And I just caught it for the first time. This is why I think he's not an idiot. It's like my fourth time watching this, and I just realized that he made up a definition for science. Kind of under his breath.
Yeah. Do you remember? Do you want to go back and watch it again, or?
It's the search for causes in objective reality or something like that.
No.
He threw the word objective in there, and that's no one's definition of science except for him. The science is the search for what is and the cause of what is. And what is, what was, and what will be.
Yeah, it's like, because with so many things that he and other apologists, and I also keep thinking of Answers in Genesis because they do like the same bullshit. Like, think of whenever they talk about what scientists are doing, like, think of the implication. So, like, something that like the young earth creationists, like Answers in Genesis, will do is they'll say, evolution clearly defies like the second law of thermodynamics or whatever. It defies entropy.
It doesn't.
Okay, but think of what that implies. That means that all the like top scientists who still believe evolution is a thing are apparently unaware of the laws of thermodynamics.
Yeah.
Now, what's more probable?
Or actively working against it.
That top scientists don't understand science, or that Ken Ham is full of shit. Which one of those is more likely?
When Ken Ham keeps his job by being more and more correct, and scientists move up the science food chain by proving things wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Like, who has more skin in things who has more skin in the status quo?
Right. Or even like they'll say like it violates like the laws of entropy. Like, okay, entropy is complicated, but people like Ken Ham and like younger creationists, or probably even Turek. I don't know if he's.
I lost you for a second. Hello, hello. I'm not sure which one of us you're hearing right now on the recording. All right, I'm back.
Yeah, me too. Oh, were you lost as well?
Yeah. Hello, everyone.
Ken Ham's probably watching. He's hearing us. Like, did I say Ken Ham's name 3 times and then he just like appeared to like fuck our shit up? Is that what's going on here?
Is Ken Ham like the Dark Archangel?
The Dark Angel, only spelled with a CH. See what I did there? So
that was good.
Thank you. Like, was it though? Like, yes, it was. But anyway, so for instance, like when creationists will say, well, evolution violates the laws of entropy. Okay, like entropy is complicated. So again, what's more likely that these scientists, or even like outside of biology, like they'll talk about like astrophysicists who talk about things like the Big Bang and like how old the universe is and like how it operates. Will say like, well, there's people like blanking on his name, Sean Carroll, like. Is like, well, what you're saying is wrong because of like entropy totally disproves. Like, okay, you're telling an astrophysicist that he's wrong about entropy. Again, what's more likely that Sean Carroll, who like literally that's his life, is like studying physics, including entropy, and still to this day he has one of the best explanations of entropy I've ever heard. It makes the most sense.
He's a great communicator.
Yeah. So what's more likely, that he doesn't know what he's talking about, or that your layman ass doesn't know what you're talking about when it comes to entropy?
And even less likely is like Sean Carroll's response to that. Is not to roll his eyes so hard he falls off the stage, because that. Because when can you imagine in his head, he's like, here's this guy who like author or has like a philosophy degree or something, and he's coming to Sean Carroll and like correcting him on like junior high level physics.
Oh yeah, like what I love about Sean Carroll, and like look up there was a debate between Sean Carroll and William Lane Craig that was fucking epic. One of the best parts was like William Lane Craig, he kept bringing up this other scientist, I think it was Alan Guth. He said, well, because of the stuff that Alan Guth says, he's like totally refuting. So literally in the middle of the debate, Sean Carroll put up on the slides a picture of Alan Guth himself holding up a sign that in so many words said, William Lane Craig is full of shit. Now, he didn't say that. It was more just explaining why what Craig was saying was a misunderstanding of what he was saying. But yeah, it was fantastic. Yeah, it was, but I think what he said in that debate, out of
context or something like that.
Yeah, but what I love, I think he said it in that debate, and I've seen him say this in other debates. Is like it gets to the point, and he's like, he usually says like, "Look, I didn't want to be here to debate this, but they invited me. They made me talk about this. Like, I don't really like debates. So what he'll sometimes do in the middle of a debate is he'll go like, look." And again, in so many words, essentially says like, look, I'm going to stop treating this like a debate. I'm just going to ignore that guy. I'm just going to talk to you people. Here's what I think. He can say whatever the hell he wants. I'm tired of this. Let me just talk to you. It's fantastic.
And at that point, you're like, oh, he done meta sidestep to the whole debate. Like, and he wins.
I love Sean so much. Anyway.
He sounds like a Muppet. He's fun to listen to.
We're just chemicals. We're just molecules in motion.
There he goes again.
Remember we talked about this last night? Remember Kant said you can't know the real world? And we said the answer to that is...
No, that's like goober level thought redirection. Thought stopping.
That's what did it. That's what killed me. And he repeats that like he thought that was like. Now, if he just said it like once, like, okay, haha, funny pun, dad, but no, like he keeps doing it like that's like his like what's it called, a mnemonic device or something.
Yeah, he wants people to remember this. Yeah. Mnemonic, I think, right? With an N sound in the front.
I think it's mnemonic, kind of like mimesis, like memory.
You could be right. I could
mnemonic, I forget, but mnemonic, that might be it because I forget what mnemonic means. So again, anyone watching in the chat, if they want to.
No, but mnemonic means that makes more sense.
Brainwashing. There, it's brainwashing. There.
Yeah.
Simplify it.
Or it's just a memory technique. Like he really wants you to remember Kant this way and probably not the way atheists see it. And
or maybe even the way Kant was actually expressing it.
Now, okay, wait, hold on. No, this does make a lot of sense because, as a person, like we personally can't know the real world. I only have my perspective. So the more people's perspectives we understand or are exposed to, the more clear picture of reality we get. And so, like this Kant thing that he's trying to just throw under the bus real fast, it's super important. Because when you get to certainty, where you're like, I'm sure I'm right, it's way easier to hurt people on every kind of scale. And and then when you have a certainty, and that certainty is not just about like this reality, you're like, I understand how the whole God thing works. Like there's a Trinity and the beginning of the world, end of the world, Jesus in the middle, and like when you have that level of certainty where you're not just sure about like this existence, you've got a certainty about all the existence, and now like the atrocities that you can commit are kind of unlimited. But if you always have in the back of your mind, what I know is true is not the whole truth. Well, like it's way harder to do anything that hurts anyone. Like. From just normal relationships all the way up to like planetary world leader kind of stuff.
Yep. So would you say there's no atrocity you can't commit?
Dude, that went and that looped back on itself like before it was over. So
I'm sorry.
That's a thinker.
I kind of hate myself now. All right, so we're about halfway through the video, and I'm going for an hour 40 minutes. So I'm definitely fine. Keep going. I just want to know, do you want to try to actually like plow through the last half of this, or maybe just see how far we go in 2 hours? Or
yeah, let's just see how far we go. I think there's a lot of filler from here on out, if I remember, so we can probably listen through it pretty quickly.
Yeah, or we might just want to just to get it over with.
That is, well, then how do you know that about the real world? Well, you might as well just put Hawking in Kant's chair, because this is what Hawking's buying into. He's buying into Kant. That's why I said last night, if you can't understand Immanuel Kant, you can't understand modern philosophy, and now you can't understand Hawking unless you understand Kant.
Because you said so.
He's given up objective reality in order to say that there is no God, basically. That's what he gets to. That's where he's heading.
Non sequitur, Batman.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, because again, okay.
Skipped like 4 layers of logic.
Because this is something that like the presuppositionalists will do. And like Frank probably falls into that category of presuppositionalist. Like I'm thinking of people like Seitan Bruggencate is a rather infamous example. Like, so anytime he talks with an atheist or non-believer, one of the things he just keeps saying is like, well, how do you know? Like, you can't justify knowledge of reality. Like, you're like, based on your philosophy, you admit that you can't know anything about reality. But my worldview says that we can. So, but it's completely like sidestepping the issue of, okay, but if we actually can't like for certain know what objective reality is, then that applies to you too.
Yeah.
Whether just because you claim
asking the question of themselves, like, can I know that? They just jump to the conclusion.
Yeah, they say, well, my belief and my worldview and essentially my book tells me that I can, so therefore I can, but you can't. It's like, okay, but if the reality is that you don't understand objective reality, then you can't claim that. But they say they can because...
And the people who claim to know what objective reality is tend to be religious people. And religions are one of the most, one of the more subjective, pictures of reality.
Right. All right, but real quick, yeah. Thanks for hanging out with us, Kif.
Yes.
We'll see you around.
Bop, bop.
Yeah. Yeah, and also keep commenting later when you watch this later, or anyone who's watching this later. Still leave us your comments. We'll definitely go back and look at those and respond. But anyway, as you were saying.
Yeah, not willing to admit that there could be something outside of what you know or believe is true. That's like the most subjective of stances to take.
Yeah, and he goes more into this later, so we can discuss it when he gets to it. But yeah,
I know this is kind of hard to believe when you think about it, but this is what
he's losing his audience.
A world-renowned physicist is saying.
That's what I was about.
Yeah, see, he's got to tell him this is crazy.
Einstein said many years ago. He said,
"Okay, remember what he said earlier about you got to know philosophy to do science or something." Like he made. Okay,
he's doing this He's doing this like one fist on the hip thing. Where he's like, I'm a little teapot.
Well, okay. To be fair, that's because he's holding the remote, Slide Advance or something.
But he does do the teapot hip thing a lot.
That's true. He does.
That's a dominating posture to take, and he does it a lot when people are asking him questions, or when he's starting to lose his audience's attention. He's got his hands on his hips.
Yeah. Well, this guy is total alpha male as well.
Well, it just means he's got a penis the size of his pinky.
That might be generous, but
because the loudest dudes aren't the ones with big dick energy. Let's be honest.
I was gonna say that's why I'm such a quiet person. Just saying. Remember what he said about
the man of science is a poor philosopher.
So earlier he said basically in order to do science you got to do philosophy, but now he's saying as sort of his mic drop it in.
You cut up. Lost you.
I know. Just as I was about to make a point. So let's bring him back just a second. Then just remember what he said earlier about can't do science without knowing philosophy.
Yeah.
This is why Einstein said many years ago, he said, the man of science is a poor philosopher.
Now he's making the opposite point.
No. I think it's sneakier than that.
Uh-oh.
All right, so if the man of science is a poor philosopher and you have to know philosophy to do good science, now men of science shouldn't be listened to. The people with a good grasp on philosophy, those are the people you listen to. He's a fucking genius.
Yeah, no, never mind that he doesn't have a good grasp on philosophy, but he'll make you think that he does.
Oh, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
He knows enough to do all of this well enough, but I don't even know if he gives two shits about what people believe. I could see him still making a buck just based on body language and stuff. If he was an atheist or at least an agnostic, I could see him just because he understands his opponent's viewpoints well enough to dance just all over the place around them and never really land on it.
Yeah, but here's the thing: if he was an atheist and was doing more counter apologetics, trying to pull this bullshit, atheists would call him on it.
Okay, that's true. So that puts him more in like the Christian camp with basically so many Christian leaders who have a lot of people's eyeballs and eyeballs and ear holes. Where they talk about I derailed my own brain. What was I saying?
We're talking about like apologetics, like if he was an atheist, atheists would call him on that shit.
Oh, okay. So I think he's in the Christian campus where a lot of like leadership in churches and just everywhere kind of end up where they see. I lost my train of thought again. No, I got it back.
Oh, yay!
Where
back.
The ends justify the means. So if this keeps people in the faith, he'll do the thing to keep people in the faith, even if it's dishonest, because he wants them to stay in the faith. He knows they want to stay in the faith, and so he's just helping people tread water, and treading water for the Lord is what gets you in heaven, not hell. But if you do that for Satan, you're going to hell.
Yeah, hell is a zero effort enterprise, apparently. But
it's just kind of like people doing these same tactics in a relationship with someone. Like we universally would say, not universally. Okay, there's some straight white Christian dudes out there that wouldn't see it that way. But yeah, we can all pretty much point out that like get away from that as fast as possible.
Ideally, yeah.
But when it's for the Lord,
or something. All right.
Wait,
the man of science is a poor philosopher.
Is sodomy for the Lord okay? Because like genocide for the Lord, that's all right in the Bible. Genocide for human sake or human decision, really wrong. It's like, so it's not the genocide that's bad, it's why you're doing it.
Right.
And so it's the same thing with like misleading people with apologetics.
Yeah, which is why I want to do we kind of did an episode like a few weeks ago from a listener suggestion about like being good without God. I think there's more like to explore on that, like on the morality issue. Because I would posit that, like, because apologists like Turek, and this is something he says a lot, is like, without God you have no basis for morality. And like I would argue, okay, even with God, like if the Bible is what we're going on, like that is no basis for morality.
And the truth is, we have our basis for morality, but universe-wide, like taken all together, there probably is no universal morality. It's all dependent on point of view. And so like from a planetary point of view, like human morality would just look dumb. Like, you know what I mean? Like
yeah.
The Earth is just it's like, where do you get off? Like,
but yeah, like I said, I want to do that on another episode. But as a primer for the viewers, if like something to view before that, speaking of debates, there was absolutely epic debate between Sam Harris and William Lane Craig on morality.
I need to watch that again.
Fucking fantastic. But
there was one point, wasn't that when Sam Harris was like Craig went off and he was just complicating things to confuse people and impress people, make them feel cozy in their brain space, and then he just goes off, right? And it goes back to Sam Harris, and he says something like, "Well, that was something."
Yeah, he comes to like, "Well, that was interesting." Like I remember that,
and
because
then
that's something someone.
Point.
Well, but what follows from him saying, "Well, that was interesting," was like one of the greatest moments of that debate. Someone like clipped it, like just that section of Harris speaking, and put it on YouTube. They gave it like an unfortunate title, because I hate titles like this, even though it's kind of true. But it says something like Sam Harris demolishes Christianity or something like that. Which I hate those like hyperbolic titles like that, but only because like it means that like Christians aren't going to watch it. But the stuff that he says in that segment is some powerful stuff that I really wish more Christians would watch. It was actually that kind of thinking that's what led me towards atheism essentially. That was like a huge part of it. But anyway, so yeah, watch that. Yeah. Like, but speaking of debate, like this is another side comment. I would love to see a debate between Frank Turek and Richard Dawkins. Not because I think it would be a good debate, because I honestly I think for most of it, Dawkins would probably just spending the whole time just looking at him like, what the fuck is wrong with this man? Like, it's almost like he would feel like, I don't even feel like I can talk to him. It's like, are you people hearing this?
Yeah, anyway. No, he would do something like that. He would say, and this is what convinces you.
I feel like halfway really he would and I could totally see like halfway he would probably just leave. Like he just fuck off. He's like, I just can't.
Yeah, he has like cranky old man vibe happening for sure lately.
Yeah. Like he would literally just go back into the audience and just sit there like, no, keep talking. That's just fascinating.
He's super honest. Yeah. He was in the interview with Alex O'Connor.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, and then they started having like more personal conversation back and forth, and Dawkins asked him, he's like, so you studied this, like what we're talking about, and he I don't know what he said, but like it was basically, how could you ever? Like, why would anybody want to? Why is this a thing? And he wasn't. Yeah. It was insulting.
Talk about apologetics, or theology.
Theology,
yeah. Theology, yeah.
Yeah, and apologetics that comes with it, and
yeah.
So I just love how he was just being honest and like genuine, but it was also like very potentially insulting.
Yeah,
but that's just him in that moment, and that I don't know. It's just nice to see people being themselves.
And I will say this is like a cool moment that I caught. Like, so the people like often refer to Dawkins as like being very like strident or like harsh or whatever. But I don't know. Did you ever hear? This was actually the Christopher Hitchens' final interview, and it was with Dawkins.
Oh, wow.
I don't think I ever actually. I think they interviewed, and I think it was. I don't know if it was just for print, but I heard the audio recording of it, so it had some extra things of them talking. So I don't know if this part of it was in the final like print interview, but one of the last things, like as they were just like chatting after, I guess, the formal interview, one of the things that Hitchens said to Dawkins, and I think this might be one of the things that like still drives them, and like this is why like basically Hitchens told him, don't let them call you strident. It's like, you're being honest, you're being forthright. Like, don't let them try to hold you back. It's like, if you have a conviction about something, like fucking stand up for it. And like, in so many words, I don't remember all his words, but I was like, to me, that explains a lot of Dawkins' approach. I think this is just speculation, but I imagine he probably still holds on to that, being like, this was like his last interview with Hitch, shortly before he died. So that probably still means a lot to him, but yeah.
And that word strident, like that choice of vocabulary is very cool, because there's a lot of stuff rolled up in strident. Like strident means like you're out over your skis, or you're bigger than your britches, or like he was saying, don't let them tell you that you're not being you. And like that's cool.
Yeah,
I think that's what I want my kids to embody.
Yeah,
don't let them tell you you're not being you. And
fuck yeah,
that goes for everybody in a religious context. Don't let anybody tell you who you are.
For real. All right, well, we're coming up on 2 hours. Like, you want to keep we're still only slightly halfway through. You want to keep going, or
is there a good stop? What's coming up? Is there a good stopping point?
Let's watch it for a minute and maybe see if we come up on a good point. But yeah.
Hawking is a very poor philosopher. He's making elementary mistakes in logic.
Oh, who's doing that?
And making assertions.
Who's doing that? Who's the liar? Who's the liar?
Again, think of his credential and what he's accusing Stephen fucking Hawking of here. Like, and I'm not saying, and again, as much as I was giving Turek
he's
shit
making
about
logic mistakes the whole time.
Yeah, and again, this is like, because as much shit as we were giving Turek about the whole like argument from authority, this is not me saying, well, Stephen Hawking is like the atheist authority and stuff like.
Yeah,
no, but he was a fucking brilliant dude. So to just say like he's making elementary mistakes in logic, I'm like, are you sure it's him?
Black hole radiation is named after him. Like Stephen Hawking, yeah, he's like, black holes are going to do this kind of radiation if this kind of thing is going on, and then they realized, no, it's totally doing that thing, and I think it's after he died they discovered it.
Yeah,
and they named it after
him. I think
him.
So
yeah,
no, but he's the guy making the elementary mistakes. Yeah.
What is that? The Dunning-Kruger effect?
Something like that. I think that's actually Frank's middle name.
You don't know what you don't know.
Yep.
That he can't prove in order to get to the conclusion he wants.
Okay,
but there's more.
That's it. Okay. Again, accusing him of just trying to get to the conclusion that he wants. Again, like, because apologists have to do this. They have to assign motive. They have to say the only reason that atheists are just non-believers or just even other Christians who believe in things like evolution, like which doesn't really make sense.
That kind of black and white morality falls apart if they aren't doing it on purpose.
Right. Because but to them, like, because the dilemma becomes, okay, the Bible says this, but all these scientists are saying something that completely contradicts that or slightly contradicts it or just goes against it in any like way, shape, or form. So, and again, I'm not saying these are the only two options, but these are probably the, false dichotomy being one of the apologist's best friends. Like, how at least the way they express it, I'll say they're leaving me with no other choice but then to see that this is how they're viewing it. Okay, it's like they're seeing it as like they have two options. Either what science is showing us is true and what we're saying the Bible says is wrong, or I guess I should say there are only two reasons that the scientists would say this. Is because it's actually true and they're just going with where the evidence is leading them. And this is what the apologists basically have to believe, is they have an agenda. The only reason that they're saying these things that contradict the Bible is because that's what they want. Those are the answers they're looking for. I mean, never mind the fact that like most of the biggest like scientific minds throughout history and still continue to be like, they have been Christians or like people of other like religious faiths. So to say that like these people, like they're only trying to disprove God by coming up with these theories is like makes absolutely no sense. But that has to be what it is in order for their narrative to be true.
Well, because if they have to have evil intention to be ignored, and because that's how like that's how my Christian brain worked.
Oh yeah, mine too.
Because if there was godliness to what they were saying, then it was worth considering. Because that's like how we kind of been like programmed, or like, okay, if it's godly, listen to it. If it's not, reject it. And so,
yeah, so
it makes it easier to reject.
Yeah, so, but then the way like the brain kind of works with that is, okay, so if it's not godly, reject it. So, but then that also kind of works in reverse. It's like if you're coming across something that you feel like you have to reject, then that means you have to label it ungodly. Does that make sense?
Okay, yeah. Yep.
So that's what this is. Like, so these scientists are saying something that goes against what my faith says the Bible says and that I have to believe. Okay, so I obviously have to reject it. So now I have to come up with a reason that it's ungodly. So I am justified in rejecting it.
Yeah. Which can happen subconsciously. Like the reason.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's the
people aren't even aware of that usually.
Yeah, that's the ironically diabolical aspect of it.
Yeah, that's the most convincing part of what looks like free will.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so let's see if we either get to a good stopping point or just at the point where Frank just says something that makes me just unable to continue and need a week of rest.
As you might imagine. Those are just the philosophical problems. What are the scientific problems in the book?
Fuck.
Oh yeah, this is where he's just
maybe this is where we need to stop because now the author is going to tell the world-renowned physicist where his problems are with his science.
Yeah, this is peak ego.
Fuck out of shit.
Yeah.
Fucks. God.
I don't have the energy for this right now.
Okay.
This is a good stopping point.
Yeah.
Because he's like, right. You thought I was brilliant a minute ago. Wait till you see me in 5. I'm about to own this bitch.
Oh, fuck.
And if you keep in your head the image of Stephen Hawking at this point, like he is not a strong human being.
Yeah.
Who lives basically in and on, surrounded by medical equipment.
Mm-hmm.
And then Frank Turek has to be as bombastic as he's being in order to come out on top of this guy. This is the asshole jock knocking the special needs kid down the stairs in high school,
Mm-hmm.
This is not a respectful conversation. And if there was a picture of Steven on the stage while Frank is doing all this shit or back and forth, his audience would just go, "You're being mean."
Well, but he actually put up let's see if I can find it.
He didn't leave it up though.
Yes, there was here. This is with that picture, when he put that in, it almost felt like the way he put that in here. That was kind of his. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm a citing motive, which I probably shouldn't do. But.
Okay, with this, you can't know the real world. Isn't that stupid? Look at this picture of a stupid person. I think that tone really bugs the shit out of me. Actually, now that I look at it, this is the phrase he ridiculed, and this is where he puts pictures of Stephen Hawking.
Yeah. So enough of that bullshit.
So Frank's not a nice guy.
Yeah. So tune in next week where we watch him some more. All right, so
it has been fun in a way.
Yeah. All right, and I do see we still have some people watching, so I'm gonna go and throw the link out there if anyone wants to join in on the conversation. If you can, we love to hear your thoughts. Obviously, comments are great, but if you also just want to hop on the stream, but
yeah.
But yeah.
No, Frank Turek impresses me
in all the worst ways. Yeah.
I'm just here. This is the guy doing this the best it can be done.
Right? I mean, yeah. Here's the thing.
He's doing all the things.
He is a fantastic apologist.
Mm-hmm.
But that's like saying, "Oh, this person is a fantastic, leader of a drug cartel," or this, or this person is a fantastic troll, we had earlier here with whatever is.
I'm flattered. I'm flattered he came back.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, we got it on both ends. People just finding us from there was Susan who was actually digging. It was first of all, I was cool. I didn't think we were getting any kind of visibility on YouTube, but apparently we are. So
we're searchable.
That's cool. Yeah. So that so for the people watching, please comment, share, subscribe, all the things like we said, we understand this is the kind of show, and especially based on the people I've had conversations with who watch it, but they kind of keep most of their reactions like kind of private and like direct messages. Because like, I love what you guys are talking about, but I don't necessarily want to talk about it publicly because I'm not in a place with people in my life where I want to be public that I agree with you on this sort of thing. Like, you know, we totally get that. Totally get that. So we obviously don't want you to be like doing anything like sharing this in like such a way that makes it like uncomfortable for you. But,
we're not trying to out anybody.
Yeah. But it's more, and obviously like, and I mean, and also like, it's not like we're making money off of this. Like that's not the motive for us to be pushing this. Like but it just seems to be the thing for the people who like this and enjoy it. It seems to like really be meaningful to them. I mean, it's meaningful to us, you know, we love doing it. So it's really more just people seem to like this. So we would like it if more people who like it could like it, you know, or something. But because I know for me, like this kind of like, again, this is again why we do it is because this sort of thing was so helpful for me as I was like working through and continues to be helpful for me as I'm working through all kinds of issues. So
like, and this is also us working through our stuff.
Oh yeah, this is all just external processing right here. But yeah, it's man, totally lost what I was going to say, and it was fucking good too. But
we're not just doing talking about we would do this anyway, working through our stuff.
Yeah, it's been helpful for me, so it'd be helpful for other people too. Yeah, it's
ADHD.
See our previous episodes on neurodivergence.
It's on the topic of
so
we're doing this.
It's also just so people who also think like this, and this was huge for me, just knowing if you're thinking like this, you're not alone.
Yeah.
Like just to let you know, there are other people. And like I said, even if you don't feel comfortable like commenting or like hopping on the stream, like when I throw out the link or like being a guest or something, like if you just want to like DM like either of us, like whether it's on Facebook or through YouTube. I don't know, like if DMing through YouTube, like we don't do enough on YouTube. It's like
we'd get notifications if it happened.
Yeah, but I don't even know if there is like a direct message through YouTube things. Like, so here's the thing, like we're on YouTube, but I don't consider us like YouTubers. It's like I'm not a real YouTuber. I just play one on YouTube. Yeah, but whatever that means. But but for real, like if like whether it's through like it's mainly through Facebook seems to be where we get a lot of our interaction. But seriously, like so if you want to like direct message us through the Facebook page or either of our personal accounts, even like please like I said, I already do have like several conversations with people like on that avenue who don't feel comfortable like, you know, commenting publicly or whatever. But yeah, I mean, this is kind of stuff like we love talking through with people. And again, even if you have like ideas that you want to hear us talk about, like, you know, we did like a while ago, we had a viewer suggest a topic and, you know, they wanted to remain anonymous. So, you know, totally respect that, but, you know, still able to talk about stuff if you want us to talk about it. Yeah.
Yeah. And there's no right way to ask questions. Like,
right.
Yeah. You know, like finding your way through all of this stuff. The realest part about going through all of it is some of the relationship challenges that happen, like friendships, family. That is not a small thing. In some cases, it can completely change a dynamic. But it's more worth hanging on to yourself and who you are than hanging on to anyone else.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And anyone who can't see that, maybe at least for a season, they're not good to be around.
Yeah. With no exceptions too. So I guess to kind of maybe wrap this up, even though this isn't really related to the main topic for the evening, but one of my, because that's one of the things that's almost like the cliche about like I talk about a few years ago, like having stage 4 cancer and just kind of seemingly narrowly beating it or whatever, literally like being pretty convinced, okay, I'm dying. But then all of a sudden I wasn't. It's kind of the cliche about, oh, that changes you, gives you a new perspective. And I was almost kind of pissed that it gave me a new perspective on life because of how fucking cliche that is. But one of my post like facing death, like realizations, the things that I really kind of honed in on that really kind of put things in perspective for me was the people that you want in your life are the people around whom you can truly be yourself. Like having like interests and like hobbies or whatever in common, yeah, that's great. But really what it comes down to is if you don't feel like you can really be yourself around a person, like I said, this goes for anyone, friends, family, then it's not good for you to be around them. Something I learned recently, people like to throw around the phrase, blood is thicker than water, saying that, oh, your blood relations, that's, the strongest thing. Well, first of all, that's not the full quote. And the quote actually means the opposite of how most people use it. Matt, are you familiar with this?
No, I saw you posted that.
Yeah. So the full quote is the blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb. Basically meaning the opposite. It means the relationships that you choose are stronger than the relationships you have by birth. So this is, let me say now, and like when I posted that, I made sure to say it because I know I have like plenty of family who like follow me on Facebook. Like I am very fortunate that I have a loving and supportive family. Like even like though most of them are Christian and I'm not anymore, like no one's disowned me, no one's shunned me. Sure, I still get the kind of like still friendly, but kind of you can tell a lot of them kind of want to try to talk me back, but they're not like overbearing about it. But like I said, it like they still treat me like family. But I know for a lot of people that's not the case. And if that's you, if you're watching this right now, like just know, and I'm not saying this is easy. Like I know, like I mean, I try to put myself in the place if this was not the case with my family and how just fucking difficult that would be. But just know, and I'm not saying you have to do this. Like again, this is not me telling you what to do. It's just me telling you it's okay if this is what you feel like you have to do. But if being around certain parts of your family, or even maybe the whole family, if that's not good for you, you do not have to. So, just want to leave you with that.
Yeah,
you can find new family,
and it's worth reflecting on why you can't. Because like in my experience, part of it was me. Like part of it was like hangups I was having because I wasn't comfortable with who I was. And so, like, I was kind of projecting some of that onto my mom and sister. And then kind of reflecting on why I couldn't be myself, I realized that, like, some of that was, like, awkwardness coming from them. And then some of it was just me afraid to be myself. So, like, I was comfortable being myself, but I was afraid to because, I don't know, just different. It's just not the same.
Yeah, just because different.
Because this hasn't happened before. And there have been a lot of things that have happened before. So this isn't one of those. And those were safe. They felt safe. Or safer than this.
For reals. But yeah. And like I said, it
could also be that they're a bunch of assholes.
Also possible. But yeah, like I said, I mean, that's one of the things I think that, what I think is so great about our friendship is like, I always throughout the whole time, and like, it's like both of us have like changed views and thoughts and opinions and beliefs on so many things. But I think at all points, I'll speak for myself and hopefully you feel the same. Like we've always felt like I can be completely honest with you and just be myself with you. And there's things we disagree on, but we're like, okay, fine.
Not that many things really.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I think it might be more of a thing. Like maybe some things are like more important to.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And some of the things I don't know what I think. So,
right? Yeah, me too. So, man, that was good shit right there. And of course, like we saved it like for the very end of an over 2-hour episode when like no one's watching anymore. But so I see somebody still watching. So go back and watch that thing that happened just like 5 minutes ago. But yeah, because that's a message that I really want to tell people is like, yeah, again, just to reiterate, find people around whom like you can be yourself, and we hope to be that. Like if that's someone you need in your life and you don't have anyone, I mean, we'll fill that role as good as we can, you know. But
I mean, we're pretty awesome, but we're not like completely awesome.
Yeah, like, but we're here for the humanity, which am you.
Indeed, so. You am the humanity.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, any other parting thoughts on the evening or about the Frank or?
I saw a food truck on the way home tonight, and it said, I swear it said Mexican hot dog. I was super intrigued. I was like, is that Cincinnati style Mexican chili in a coney? Like,
okay, I want to know, was that connected to anything, or was that just a
very loosely connected to something? Oh, yes. No, here's where it was. You said the Frank, and then I went hot dog, and I was like, I saw hot dog something today, and then I was like, oh yeah, it was that food truck.
Nice.
I was like, Mexican hot dog. My goodness, I want that.
I love us. All right. And we love you too. So thank you for watching again. Like, if it's something you're comfortable with, feel free to share this. And even, I mean, you can even share this like privately if you just have like a couple people in your life. Okay, I don't want everyone to know that I like this show, but maybe like one or two.
We understand. Like, we are. Yeah. We are the part of you that you don't want to show to other people.
we are not for everybody. That's for sure. But yeah. And again, we want to thank our apparently like new viewer, Susan, who was with us tonight. Hope you go back and watch more things. Hope we pop up in your YouTube feed more often. Indeed. That's the other thing. Like maybe we should actually like try the whole like making ourselves more visible. I think a couple times I actually put some tags on videos. Maybe I should try that more again. But this is also another thing I wanted to put out there. I'm atheist. Like Matt, at least sometimes refers to himself as atheist, atheist. But this is
I am not a theist.
There you go.
I will say that.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that this show is just for atheists. Like, for instance, like Kiffany from Rackets and Drapes, who was like commenting, I don't know exactly how she would identify herself, like religiously or spiritually, but not atheist. Like, I know she believes in God, but yeah, and so I love that she feels comfortable, like actually being our guest last week, which is an awesome show. It was so awesome. It was our like longest episode ever. It was like 4 hours long, and it was good shit. Our very first guest, Eric Barnes, also not an atheist. Other future guests we would love to have on. I think actually two of our next ones. Keith, looking at you. I'll be in touch with you soon. We may be able to set something up because with Keith being in Great Britain, we need to like do a pre-recorded for that, obviously. Yeah. Or Aaron Tomlinson, another great dude who's also not an atheist, who I think is really cool to talk to. But we're not sure we're correct. Oh yeah, and I think it's pretty safe to say for both of us that like people are more important than beliefs anyway. So, no, yeah, I mean, like I said, there's still plenty of people in my life who are like still Christian, who are like still super important to me, like including my kids. I still like my daughter's with me every Thursday, and she wants to go to church, so I drive her to church. I'm like, fine, but yeah, so.
But black metal all the way home, right?
Emperor. Yeah, she's learned to live with it. No, I usually just get it out on my system on the way there, and like when I go to pick her up, and then. Yeah. Anyway. So all that to say, whoever you are, we're glad you're here.
Yeah.
And we hope you reach out to us in whatever way is comfortable for you. And if it means like you really get something out of our episodes and think someone else might, please share that with them again in whatever method is comfortable for you. But yeah, we love you. Glad you're here. And we hope you'll be here again next week when I guess we're continuing this video from Frank. So
we might have to try one on before we start next time.
We're fucking real. All right. And but yeah, and like I said, we have a few people we've planned on having as future guests. But again, if you'd like to be on, like I said, like our guests are, I was about to say, well, they're no one special, but they're special to us. But it's not like, we're just interviewing like celebrities. Like, no, we want like, it's like when we have someone on, like we're not treating it like we basically treat you like you're a third co-host. So if you just would like to have conversations with us about stuff, then that's what we would like to. So, and again, or if you just have another suggestion for anything anyone would like to hear us talk about, please submit those suggestions as well. Other than that, right? Any other final thoughts?
Nope. I'm hungry. That's about it.
No. There you go.
Oh, and then like the usual final thought: may your things and stuff be forever with your people.
Yep. Thanks, everybody. We will see you next week as soon as I remember where the thing is that I click during the now. There it is. Bye.